Welcome back everyone. Today is the day for the final part of the Brick City Playmek tutorial. Last time we finished the basic capture the flag cycle, but there are still a lot of ways the game can break easily. Today we're trying to catch some of those. If you're watching this video right when it comes out, a few things might look slightly different when you see them in the game. That's because our testing version already has some of the features that will be added in the next update. But all of the things we used today already work the same in the current version. In the beginning we have used Scene 1 to sort the players into teams and Scene 2 for the main match. But in the play square, new players can join the play map at any time, as long as we haven't reached the maximum number we chose in the settings yet. In Scene 1 we moved the players into the starting area as they join, but if they join in Scene 2, they are still just dropped in the middle of the map, just like we saw in the first video. So we should handle that the same way as we did in Scene 1. Since the blocked area type we made there doesn't exist in Scene 2, we make a new one with the same name, and place 3 of them around the platform again. We also need to add the rules once more and restrict player movement into these areas. And of course we should put the players in the middle of the platform again, so remake the starting area for Scene 2 as well. Then in the scene rules we add on player join game to move them there. But since the captain of the game is already busy playing the game, we either have to let new players wait until the next match, or use another method to let them join. For that, I'm gonna add some props they can interact with. Among the functional props we have these levers. Let's place one on each side so players can use them to pick their teams. Name this one blue switch for the blue side, and this one yellow switch. When we edit the rules for a prop, we can use on-player prop interaction. Different props have different interactions, but for these levers, players can press the dedicated button to pull them. When someone does that, let's move them right to that team. Change their outfit to the team uniform so they fit in, and move them to their new home base. Once again we name the parameter bbase for the blue team and link it to the matching bbase area. And the same format with the yellow team and base for the other lever. We also shouldn't forget to set their health to the same initial value as we did on play scene 2 start. So far so good. But another thing players can do during the match that could cause trouble for us is leave. On one hand, that can cause unbalanced teams, but since matches are short, it's okay if that happens once in a while. It's a bigger problem when the player who has captured the statue leaves. Unfortunately, there isn't a check for on-player leave yet, so it takes a bit of effort to catch this. Since we only can check player switches for players that are in the game, our has flagged player switch doesn't help either. So we should go back to the rules for each statue and also set a map switch, where we store if the statue has been captured at all. First, the yellow statue. At the bottom of the rule for on-player collision with prop, we add switch settings, map switch. We create a new map switch called Y statue captured and switch it on. Same for the blue statue. If you want to use it as a check, we also have to switch it off again each time a flag is returned. First, after a player brings it to the home base for the yellow team, and for the blue team. Then we also need to switch it off when the player who has it is defeated. So in the scene 2 rules under when player is hit condition, we go back to the part where we re-enable the statue prop for each team. And use the plus here to insert the same action. To switch off the Y statue captured switch when it's the blue team 2 player getting killed, and B statue captured for yellow team 4 player. Now we need a new basic rule. Since there is no on-player leave, we set a timer to check it in regular intervals. In the bottommost category called rules, we have every fixed number of seconds. If we type 1 here, we can do the same check every second, which is more than enough to keep the ball rolling. First, we ask if the map switch for either statue is on. And then we go through each player of the team to check if they have the flag. If the map switch is on but no one has it, they must have left. We cannot simply pick entire team at this point, because that would mean all players in the team would have to have the flag on at the same time, which of course is impossible. So we pick for each player, which cycles through all of them in order, so we can check them one by one. If we add more conditions in here, the aforementioned player now lets us choose each player. First, we check if they are on the opposing team. Team 2 for the yellow statue. Then we check if there has flag switches on. As soon as we find one active player switch, we can stop. For that, there is stop rule execution. When that is triggered, all actions below it are skipped. So whatever comes below only happens when this does not. We do the same for the blue statue. Now checking for each team 4 player if they have the flag. and stop the rule in that case. On the other hand, when we get through all of this without triggering any stop rule execution condition, that means a player carrying the statue must have left. So at the very end of each of these statue captured switch blocks, we add our familiar actions of enabling the matching prop, turning off the statue capture switch, and sending the message to all players. We can use the same Y return and B return messages we wrote before, because all of those happened in the scene 2 rules also. Now we find the matching spot that's inside the B statue captured is on condition, but outside of the for each player condition, and do the same for the other team once more. There's one more minor headache left here. When a player leaves and joins again, their settings remain the same as when they left. So we have to make sure everything's in order when a player joins too. So we go back to onPlayer join game, and add the revert player appearance to MyPo for the joining player. Also restore all settings, change their team back to our dummy team 1, and revert the outfit back to normal. And of course, there has flag player switch needs to be off too. Phew, that was a lot of work, wasn't it? But new players might still not know how to play it at this point. We can add in a few more messages at certain points to help with that. Let's begin with the start of the match. So after loading play scene 2. We already added the win, lose and draw messages at the end of the game, but there's one more banner that says GO in huge letters. Let's add that. Then maybe another standard message explaining the goal. Back under interface, we add another send specified message as a message to player rule for all players. We pick start message as a parameter name. Now we have so many parameters we need to scroll a bit to find it. There it is, start message. Capture the other team's statue and bring it to your base. Maybe let's also add another reminder when a player captures the statue. In the rules for the blue statue, after we handle all the other parts of the capturing, we can send a special message only for this player. So if you pick a aforementioned player here, this still has the player who touched the statue as entering player. So now we can tell them, now return to your base. If you want to make the objective even more clear, we can add an arrow for them to point them home. Once more on the interface, Pick display arrow turning player towards placed entity. Let's just call it home. And link it to Y base area to direct them back to the yellow base, as we are still in the blue statue rules. And now all the matching rules for the yellow statue. I'm gonna speed this up a lot. Please pause it as you need it, or slow down the replay speed in the YouTube video options. Then we need to turn it off later again with the matching rule, both when they reach the home base or when they are defeated by another player. Now let's revisit the first scene some more. The game starts when the captain, which is the first player who started the play map, picks the option in the captain menu. But it's not much of a contest when they are in the map all alone. It's also possible for all players to pick the same team for a 10 against none match, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Let's bring a bit of order into that chaos. No matter how small the map, a capture the flag game is much fun if there aren't at least 2 players in each team. In Scene 1, in the on start game captain command activation rule, we can make sure the game only starts when those requirements are met. At the very bottom of the variables category, we have the team player count comparative rule. This lets us compare the size of a team directly with the number. First, Team 2. If there are less than 2 players, we send a warning message to explain and then stop the rule. Then Team 4. Once again less than, fixed number, and 2. Let's do a neutral message for both teams so we can use the same parameter for both. Each team needs at least 2 players. So now we need to make sure that move to play scene comes after that. So it only happens unless the rule was stopped. This prevents completely empty teams, but we could still have unfair matchups like 8 against 2 players. Unfortunately, we cannot compare 2 team sizes directly yet, so we need 2 map scores to fill in for the comparison. First, we create new scores called Y players and B players, and set them both to 0. Even though new values are created at 0, we should do that here, because we need to reset them each time the captain uses the command again. Then we do another round checking for each player. For each player in Team 2, we add 1 to B players. And for each player in Team 4, we add 1 to Y players. Once we're done, we can compare each team with the placeholder map scores. Make sure it's at the right branch, outside of the for each player counter. Now we first check if Team 2 has at least as many players as Y players we counted for Team 4. And nested within that, we check again if Team 4 has equal or more than B players. Now we drag our move to place scene 2 inside, so it only happens if both conditions are met at the same time. And if we stop the rule here now, we can simply add another warning message at the end, as we only reached this point if we didn't interrupt the rule for any of the other reasons above. Let's call this message Team Balance. And the text to display to players: teams must be more balanced. We cannot send messages only to the cap, but it's good if every player knows what's going on anyway, so we pick all players again. Now this works well for even numbers of players, but because both teams need to be exactly the same size, now we cannot start a game at all if there's an odd number of players in the game. If we want to allow a difference of one player, we can subtract 1 from each of our player counting variables. We pick arithmetic operation again, and this time chose -1. Now both values are 1 less than the actual team size, so we have some wiggle room when we compare those. We just need to move these minus calculations above the part where we compare the numbers, but after the group with the for each player condition. So to recap this whole long rule, first we check if each team has at least 2 players, and stop the rule with a warning if not. Then we count through each player and add 1 to our Y players and B players map scores for each player in the matching team. Next we reduce both by 1 to allow for 1 player difference when there is an odd number of players. Finally, we compare each team's player count with the map scores and move to scene 2 if everything is balanced. Only if none of the conditions for stop rule executions are triggered, we end up at the end where we can display the warning message for unbalanced teams. But we're still not done here. We should also check the balance if players join during a match. So we return to scene 2, pick one of the lever props in the right side menu, tap Edit Rules, and revisit the on-player prop interaction rule. At least we only have to count 1 of the teams for each switch. If the player tries to join the blue team with this one, then we use for each player to count the Y players for each player in team 4. We also don't need the -1 here, because we only want to prevent new players from joining a team that already has more players than the other. So if team 2 player count is greater than our freshly counted Y player score, we send a message asking them to join the other team and stop the rule. Note that we should pick interacting player here instead of all players, as only the new player who pulled the lever needs to see it. Now we can just move this part above all the earlier actions to prevent them from happening when they shouldn't. If we drag a condition with several actions inside it, the whole branch is moved together, so we don't have to worry about sorting them all out again. Just type the actual message to display. And now the same for the other switch too. I'm doing a bit of fast forwarding again. Stop or slow down in YouTube's video options if you need it. When a new player starts our play map, maybe they don't know yet that they can use the captain menu to start the match. Let's add an info message for that too. In scene 1, we add a new main condition from the rules category. Let's send a reminder to start the game every 10 seconds just in case they miss it. As we cannot send a message only to the captain, we send this message to all players again. And let's explain how it's done. First player starts game with captain menu on top of the screen. Okay, we safeguarded our game against confusing situations pretty well now, but we can polish things a little bit further. Earlier we set match time to 300 seconds or 5 minutes. Let's add some more options in case players want shorter or longer matches. We can do that using the captain menu again. Let's add another button called Set Match Time to 3 minutes. And if the captain picks this, we create a new map score called Match Timer and set it to 180 seconds. We'll make a few more for 5 and 10 minutes, for each entering the time converted into seconds. So now in scene 2, when we start the game, instead of setting the countdown to a fixed number, we pick our match time map variable. We can also make the game show a larger countdown when the game is almost over, using emphasize countdown from number seconds. Let's put on some pressure for the last 30 seconds. One more thing to take care of: if the captain picks start game right away before picking any time now, match time is 0. So just in case, we make a map score comparison first, and if match time is indeed 0, we set it to 300 for 5 minutes by default. Okay, that sure was a lot of work. Let's finish the video with something fun. A lot of the passages between the two bases are a bit tricky, so let's add another option with some elevators. Let's make platforms that can raise one player up to the wall if a teammate pushes a button for them. First, let's make the button. Since we have to make one pair for each side, we name this elevator button B. And put it here. Now the platform. This bricks with an arrow pointing up is a good fit, don't you think? Name this elevator B. And place it right in front of the wall. Now we want the platform to go up each time a player pushes the button. Edit rules for the button. Under prop, we pick on player prop interaction, which for this type of prop means pushing it down. First, we should block further interactions with the button as long as the elevator is moving, or else it can get messed up if the button is pressed in short sequence. We can do that by picking this prop for this section. Now we pick the very first option in the menu to move the prop. In place props, we first set a parameter name, which we can assign later to the prop we want to move. Now select a direction up. The first fixed number in orange determines how far it goes. Our wall is 4 standard bricks high, and each translates to 3 units, so we make it 12. The second number determines how long it takes to move that far. 3 seconds should be not too fast and not too slow. Let's also wait 3 seconds to give the player some time to get off the platform. Then we make another move action with the same numbers but going down this time. Now when the elevator is back at its original position, we can allow interactions for the button again. And the same in fast forward for the other side, naming the props elevator button Y and elevator Y for the yellow team side. Now we are almost ready to publish our map to the Play Square and test it with real players. All that's left is go back to the main play map settings. Take a screenshot to display in the Play Square list. And now we write a little description. And we're ready to launch. As you see here to the right, once we publish the map, we cannot edit it anymore, as players might play it at any time. But if we tap on an empty map slot, we can pick Import, which allows us to make a copy with the same settings. Except for the name, screenshot and description. Now let's finally try out the map with a few other players from the Brick City team. Everyone's waiting for the match to start. But there's too many players on the yellow side. Someone has to go over there. Okay, now we can start. Going up the elevator. And I got the statue. Alright, let's try this again. Oh no, an enemy. Oh no, I died. Last 30 seconds. Can I make it across one more time? Guess not. But hey, my team won! And now everyone's back at the beginning and they can start the second run. Well, that's it for our playmap tutorial. Now it's time for you to try your own playmap creations. I'm really looking forward to what you all are going to come up with. Thanks for watching!